My name's Marissa Reese.
And where are you from?
I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada. I wanted to take this class because I'm a wildlife biology major, and conservation and wildlife just are my things. Being out in nature and everything like that, I've really enjoyed it, so every opportunity I get, I wanted to take a part of it, and Yellowstone seemed like a great opportunity for that. And it is like snowy when we're going, so I think that would be really beautiful with all the snow. I've never been hiking in the snow.
My name is Brock Carr. I am a junior. I am from Bladen, Nebraska. I've always been interested in the outdoors and learning about them. And so when I saw the opportunity to go to Yellowstone, I thought that that would just be a great opportunity to, one, get out, and two, just to observe just nature as it's doing its own thing. I'd say what I'm most looking forward to is probably observing life. I'm a big animal dude, so I'd really like to see some animals in their wild habitats and just going around. Like to learn about them too.
My name is Carson Weiss. I am a junior in college and my major is studio art. Well, Yellowstone is such a beautiful place, and I've only been there once before. It was when I was really little, and so I thought it was a good opportunity for me to go see Yellowstone in a different season and also as an adult. I'm most looking forward to, I think, seeing Yellowstone in a different way. I'm planning on bringing a sketchbook and some paints so that I can do some landscapes while I'm there. Kind of develop my ideas with art and stuff like that, so I'm excited to see how the landscape inspires me.
Hi, my name is Maddie Kamler. I am a junior biology and theater major from Shickley, Nebraska. So I heard about this opportunity to go to Yellowstone, and it just seemed like such a cool place. And so I thought a little bit of domestic travel where I get to see one of the nation's biggest and most famous national parks would be really awesome. So I couldn't pass that opportunity up.
Hi, my name is Jake Lambert. I am a health systems major here at Hastings College. I've really always been into looking at all the parks around the world. I've been to the Grand Canyon a couple of times in my life, and just being there and experiencing that site has been something extraordinary, and going to Yellowstone hopefully will be something like that too. Really just the breathtaking views. I'm really hoping to just get that otherworldly feel being out there.
Hello, I am Anya Myers. I am a wildlife bio major, and I am from Overland Park, Kansas. Well, I really miss traveling and going on little adventures. And since this is my last year in Hastings College, I thought, well, this would be a good kind of finale to cap off my final year. So hopefully we'll see some new animals and new animal behavior, and I'm just looking forward to something different.
I'm Paige. I'm a junior from Maryland, and my major is wildlife biology. Yellowstone does seem fun. I've never been to a national park.
Okay, how far west have you gone? So you're from Maryland?
This is the furthest.
This is the furthest?
Yes.
Are there any waterfalls in this park?
Andrea. I'm from Colorado. I'm a second year and I am studying wildlife biology. I've been to Yellowstone and I just kind of, slept through that whole trip the first time, so figured that I would redeem myself and not sleep through this trip. Just seeing the wildlife and seeing the different landscapes and hopefully getting a better look at the places now that I'm going with less people, I guess.
First day in the park was mostly wildlife spotting. We saw a moose on our first day, which was insane. We didn't think we were going to see a moose at all, but we saw 2 moose on the first day.
Yes, well, first off, we started with most of the ungulates, the bison, and so we saw some pronghorns, I believe, some deer and elk as well. But one of the big ones was the moose. We saw the moose on the first day, and that was a big kicker. Got everything started just right.
And I was very happy of how it turned out. I got to see my moose, which is what I was trying to see. That was one of my goals.
So that was a big deal because we had this whole bingo thing going on, and the last class never got to see a moose, so they never got to complete their bingo. So that was a big hype moment for all of us early on in the trip.
And then we just got to see so many more animals than I was expecting. And then on top of that, I was really happy with like the active learning that was going on, because I feel like I learned a lot of information that I wouldn't have been able to if I went on my own.
I was really grateful that we got to work with Yellowstone Forever. I don't think that we would have as in-depth of an experience if we did, just because we had people who were so knowledgeable around us. Amanda, who showed us all of the little things that just an average park goer wouldn't have known at all. Super, super special. All of the things that we got to take pictures of, all of the knowledge from the classroom sessions. I know it really sparked interest in like me and my friends like buying books just to even learn more about some of the stuff that Amanda talked about.
And he was obviously embarrassed. And so he, he had said...
Actually, just beyond the moose, after we visited them, we saw the wolves finally. And the wolves were especially cool. They were my favorite animal.
So we've got a herd of bison. 1, 2, 3, 4. So kind of the point of reference is that herd of bison right there.
The Rescue Creek pack that we got to see, I think we got to see about 7 members of them. That was probably the coolest wildlife encounter that we had on that trip. We were super far away. We're talking like, oh gosh, I don't even know how far, but like they were even small specks in our binoculars. They were that small. And it was so cool to see how the wolves united everybody, because nobody really knew who we were, but this whole group of people were gathered on the side of the road in this little pull-off and all pointing our telescopes in the same direction. And it really made me aware of just how much the wolves in Yellowstone bring this community together.
Seeing these elusive creatures on our first day kind of got us off on a really good start. Everybody was in a good mood. We did a short hike that day to a bison carcass. And that was also super interesting. I almost felt like I was doing some like detective work, because our leader Amanda had us looking for clues so that we could try and figure out how this bison died, what was scavenging off of it, that type of thing.
And we snowshoed out. I fell over a lot. It was a little struggle, but I got the hang of it by the end.
We'll get on his other side and we'll keep talking. That's gotta be a mile. No. Yeah. Let's check my pedometer.
Gross.
Being in Yellowstone was almost surreal because it was so quiet because of the lack of people. And also snow acts as kind of like a muffler for sounds and stuff like that. So it was just really, really quiet except for our feet crunching on the snow and the occasional bird. There was a lot of time for reflection, and it kind of just had me thinking about how we need to protect these lands. We need to continue doing what we're doing to preserve this for future generations, like preserve these unique ecosystems and these beautiful landscapes.
Pebble Creek, favorite hike hands down. The interesting thing about Pebble Creek is that it's only accessible during the winter season.
Like it's a mutual effort of a lot of hikers to pack down the snow so everyone can enjoy it, because otherwise it's not like traversable when it's warm and there's no snow.
And you start realizing, oh, there's a cute little creek, it's pretty, and the rock formations in this kind of tiny little canyon are pretty nice, and then you keep going farther back in it and the walls start to get higher and the creek gets louder because there's more elevation to it, and you see a bunch of tiny little waterfalls, and you start to see a little cave off in the distance, and you're like, this place is filled with so much more curiosity than I ever could have guessed upon first glance.
How tiny it is. That's totally.
I love it. Yeah, the Pebble Creek Canyon, it was definitely my favorite hike, I think, because of just the beauty of it. You know, we were down in a canyon with like huge cliff sides on both of us and just water running down this frozen lake still. Just getting that chance to go through it and see the erosion, the caves that have formed, it was really cool.
So Amanda took us on our last big hike. There was a sort of kind of trail up one of the mountains to these pins, and these were historical pins, last one standing of the wolf rehabilitation.
Keeping their food a secret. The location of the pens, they wanted them to be close-ish to the road.
She knew like exactly which number and could tell us almost like generationally what happened with each wolf. We talked about how one of the first main wolves got poached and how they went about trying to find that, talking to locals, and eventually narrowing it down to the dude.
That was definitely a long hike day. We did not have snowshoes, and we couldn't really find the trail at first where people had already been stepping. So it was a lot of like my whole leg going 2.5 feet into snow with every single step.
It was definitely the most difficult hike. It was our longest, and most of it was uphill. But we went to see so many things during it. There was a whole graveyard of animals that had been either killed by the winter or other animals, and Yellowstone forever had kept them there so they could teach us, and that was pretty cool.
It was also very therapeutic hiking in Yellowstone, you know, just with our group of people and the quiet and the beauty surrounding us. It was really inspiring for me, like artistically and creatively.
Getting to experience the real world examples of what I spend hours in classrooms learning through lectures and slides and, you know, maybe some pictures I'm taking notes on, is you can't compare it to the real world at all. It's just so rewarding, everything that I've been learning in the classroom, to see it in the real world and see how everything works, and already having an understanding of how it works, so then I see it in real life and I go, oh, I know that, I know why that does that, or I know how this works.
So Mammoth Hot Springs was probably one of my favorite hikes, as we got to hike even through the forest near there and see some of the other hot springs nearby. Just kind of learn about, well, you know, these are the microbes, like these are the extremophile microbes that make their home in these incredibly inhospitable waters, you know. It's like for them, nothing has changed since the Precambrian period.
Orangey fellow, we've got oscillatoria.
We got some zygogonium and Metallosphaera.
Thermos.
Thermos?
Thermos. That one right there that has less words or less letters.
We got Oscillatoria, Cyan Idiosychthon,
Necrococcus.
All right. Carson, you want to try one?
No. Here, I'll give you an easy one. That one is right there.
What is it?
Oscillatoria. There you go.
Sulfurhydrogenidium.
Got it. Bacteria, archaea, protozoa all have a place within this micro ecosystem. And so these little organisms are, to use Brian's word, eking out a living in this otherwise fairly inhospitable environment.
The different colored bacteria thrive in different temperatures. So you can look at the different colors on the rocks with the bacteria in the water and determine how hot the water is, like the temperature.
And the heat-loving, thermophilic microorganisms that live in Yellowstone's hot springs meadows.
Mammoth Hot Springs is a truly unique place for anyone who wants to go and see a geologic feature that you won't see this multitudinously anywhere else. If you can withstand the smells of sulfur, you can go and explore there for a whole entire day and challenge yourself on the nature equivalent of a Stairmaster.
Being able to circle around the whole hot springs and see the whole formation was really cool. There was a secret area that had a whole backside view to the main hot spring, and seeing that was also really interesting.
You see all the colors and how they work perfectly together almost. In art, it's important to find a color palette that's cohesive, but when you're in nature, and specifically in Yellowstone, it's just a natural color palette and all of the colors work together naturally, and so that's really inspiring as an artist.
I've been on trips to other parks before with just me or my family, and I never have had that level of learning as what I was able to get through this Yellowstone trip.
I knew that Yellowstone had a very, very interesting geologic past, but I just was not sure how interesting rocks could get. Amanda started talking about the Western Interior Sea, which was actually familiar to me because Nebraska is covered by the same exact, or used to be covered by the same exact body of water. So a lot of the fossils that you find up in the Yellowstone National Park area of Montana, Idaho, Wyoming are very similar to some of the fossils that you will find down here in Nebraska.
So we went to the Museum of the Rockies, and I really enjoyed that. I don't go to a lot of museums, so it was kind of new for me.
Yeah, I love dinosaurs, so going to that museum was pretty cool. It was cool seeing Sue, and the fact that she's the most complete fossil record of a T-Rex is really cool. And being in that place and seeing her history unfold was awesome.
I'm a big dino nerd, I like paleontology. So you can imagine how hyped I was when I got in and I could see through the entrance this incredible replica of what Sue, the Tyrannosaurus Rex, would have looked like in life.
It's in Nebraska too. Oh yeah. Because Nebraska was also covered by the Western Interior Sea.
Yeah. So I think I took more pictures of dinosaur skeletons than I did anything in Yellowstone, even though Yellowstone was incredible.
Oh, the dinosaur museum was so cool. Dinosaurs also scare me a bit because they're just so huge. Megafauna, Not my favorite. Mammoths scare me, but I try to overcome my fear by going to this museum.
These are so big for no reason.
Did you smell the dino breath?
Yeah, it smelled a lot like a clogged toilet mixed with a little bit of one of those dead bisons we saw. So I'd say that's pretty accurate to what they would have smelled like.
Did you smell it?
It was so gross. This is the most rancid thing I've ever smelled in my life. I don't know, it's kind of like a skunk and dirty socks and like rot. I'd almost have to say like dog breath, but just more rotten. Like if you feed your dog like anything not kibble, like if you feed them raw meat or something, like probably something like that, and also just very hot, like a hot smell.
It wasn't as bad as we were anticipating, but it still was not pleasant.
Is there a smell that you could liken it to in today's society?
Rotten meat.
You gotta get closer. You'll know when it hits.
T-Rex breath. Not a great fragrance.
How would you?
And it was overall just a phenomenal trip, and I'm very happy for the opportunity to get to go on it.
I'm really glad I took the class first. I'll start with the class. It changed my view for like societal and just how we as humans treat the earth and what we could do differently. Because like some of it was like common sense, but you don't put it into the perspective that the class gives you. So I was really glad that I was able to change my way of thinking and view it from a different standpoint.
I would go back to Yellowstone again in a heartbeat. If you are even thinking about going ever, do it, because it is one of the most amazing places on this earth that you will ever see.
It was just like a really incredible experience. It's somewhere I've wanted to visit for like forever, just to see the wildlife and like experience the nature and everything.
I think that this trip, like I said, super important to me, especially with my passions and going into my career of wanting to work in conservation, rehabilitation. That means a lot to me since I'm a wildlife biology major with a minor in education. Like, that's everything that I want and more.
Stuff like that, but I'm glad I went because I got to see Yellowstone in a different light. I got to meet new people and I got to learn a lot of information that I probably wouldn't know if I hadn't gone on this trip. Every single place we went or every single thing we looked at was not public knowledge, you know, it was insider knowledge that these things existed, and so that was super cool.
So my last thoughts on Yellowstone was that it was absolutely worth it. I love a good adventure, and I'll definitely have, you know, fond memories of playing in the snow, having fun dinners together, and just having those moments of human connection.
you.